get this team to come from Washington, D.C. to give our community an update is that I would not have any political activity around the Job Corps. I did invite Congressman David Scott, but I had to kindly ask him to pass coming to the Job Corps meeting this time because he was actively campaigning. And so, because he was actively campaigning, he could not participate in this meeting. And that's how strict the federal guidelines are. So please, let's adhere to the federal guidelines. We want Ms. Therese and her team to continue to come to the community, give us updates, and we don't want to violate any federal guidelines. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone.
Mike. Mike.
Okay, if everyone can please stand by the lights. I believe we're going to go off momentarily so you can see the screen better. While we're waiting for that, again, my name is Darrell James. As Ms. Torres said, I'm the Director for Facilities and Asset Management. I joined her team in September of last year. So I inherited this project and committed to seeing this through to completion. This is going to be a huge benefit for Job Corps and for the community. So I have a short presentation. I'm going to go to the next slide. It's going to step you through the background, some of the design features, the campus layout, and then talk about the current status and moving forward. Next slide, please. This project was conceived to replace the previous Job Corps Center that was located in northwest Atlanta. So you can see the new location, as mentioned, it's across the street. And we purchased the land for that site in 2008. We awarded the contract in 2017, construction started in 2017, and the old Job Corps Center closed in 2017 as well. All right, a little more on the background. When we first started the design, again, this was back in 2010, 2012 timeframe, we did meet with South Fulton County residents and addressed a lot of their concerns in the design. So some of the things we built into the design, which is still there today, is you can see listed there, attractive entrance or welcome center. We minimize the impact of lighting because there's residents located just outside of the center. We established a 35-foot buffer. We used landscaping to also provide a buffer to the building that's going to be constructed. All right, there's going to be 11 buildings as shown here. There's 2 dormitories. There's going to be a child development center, a rec center, recreation center, education. But it's a large campus. I'm sure everyone has probably drove by it and seen what's been constructed so far. And on the next slide, I want to let you know about the population. It's designed for 472 students. 272 of those students are meant to be in resident, living on the campus. Another 200 will be non-resident. You can see it's equal, it's designed for equal number of male and female. There are several different training programs that will be available. You can see here, ranging from culinary arts to construction, healthcare, transportation. All right, moving on to the status of the project. As I said, the construction started in 2017. In December of 2019, we unfortunately had to terminate the contract. So what you see now is it's about 25% constructed when we had to stop the work. We terminated the contract. Since that time, we have been working to re-procure another contract to come in and finish the construction. So in order to do that, we had to revise the design, drawings, specifications. So that required another contract to hire a firm to do that type of work. We had to account for the current conditions of the existing site. So all that took a little time to get that in order. And just recently we started working with the United States Army Corps of Engineers to award a contract to another contractor to come in and finish the construction. And that is where we are now. We are close, we hope, later this year that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will be able to award the contract with construction hopefully starting soon after the award. The duration for the construction is about 30 months. So we're anticipating the center opening the summer, I won't say the summer, but in 2025. I know I ran through that kind of quickly, but at this point, I will open it up to questions.
I have a few questions I'm going to go ahead and read to you. I would encourage, I want everyone, if you have questions, please go ahead and fill out your public hearing speaker request card. I'm going to read your questions, and if I can't understand what I'm reading, not because you have bad handwriting, but because I have bad eyesight, I will ask you to stand up and clarify your question and bring the mic to you, okay? We're going to start off with Ms. Tracy Bryant, South Fulton resident, United Way of Greater Atlanta, South Fulton Road. Is there or will there be any opportunity to collaborate with UWGA here in the city of South Fulton community to build upon meeting and the needs in the community? And Ms. Tracy Bryant, what does what's the acronym for UWGA stands for? United Way of Georgia. Okay, I got it. Did I read your question correctly?
You did.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Again, I'm Penny Webster Lewis, the Regional Director for the Atlanta region, which includes all the centers in Georgia and it will include the center in South Fulton. And we welcome opportunities to partner with all community-based, faith-based organizations to help our community do better and work well with the center. So if you'd like, I'll give you my card, and then as we get closer, we can definitely partner. And we also look to the community to give us input for particularly trade changes or things that we may think now are going to be appropriate, but it may not be at the time that we get ready to open the center or solicit the contract for the center operator. So we are open to suggestions and recommendations from all of our community partners.
Okay, and the next question is coming from Ms. Frances Brown. What type of infrastructure improvements are planned to handle the additional traffic on Washington Road and Roosevelt Highway? I will defer to Mr. Antonio Mansuela so he can talk to you about the infrastructure improvement. One of the major ones is, I know, a roundabout, and he will talk to you about the timing of when that's going to happen and explain to you why that gas station is no longer open.
With regards to the transportation improvements in the area, the City of South Fulton was successful contracting with Georgia DOT for the roundabout of Washington Road and Roosevelt Highway. The roundabout is projected to be let to construction by the end of the year. Typically, upon utility relocations and others, the construction schedule would be much clearly defined early in the year. We also have some sidewalks coming in, but that will be under our current Clear Plus project that we have. And as Councilwoman Wills indicated, Georgia DOT proceeded with a toll take on the gas station, a reason why that will disappear. We believe that the roundabout will provide the necessary transportation calming measures for the area. Upon completion, the City of South Fulton will be in charge to maintain that roundabout.
Does GOT owns that? Do they own that gas station there?
Yes.
Okay, can you please get in contact with them and tell them we need them to clean up the trash that's being dumped? The next question is, will you have a community board, and this is for the Job Corps, will you have a community board or community established, and if so, will there be an opportunity to join and get involved or assist?
Yes, short answer. There are two councils, a community relations council, which includes community partners, businesses, civic leaders that we invite to join to provide input to how the center is operated, as well as an industry council, so that different industry sectors that are represented by trades on the center will have businesses that will pour into the center to help the training be realistic and provide opportunities for work-based learning and employment for the graduates of the center once the center is open. So the short answer is yes.
Okay, the next question is how, and this is from Ms. Harvey, how are you going to handle the COVID situation when Job Corps are building dormitories? How much, okay, and then how much gang activity is located in the City of South Fulton? Because you all know that crime surrounds the Job Corps, so that's a two-part question. I will give the first question to you, to the Job Corps team. How are you going to handle the COVID situation when the Job Corps are building dormitories?
Great question. So we have been practicing this for the last year and a half now. One of the reasons it took us a while to reopen all of our Job Corps centers is because we wanted to make sure there were protocols in place for both student and staff. So for students, we have protocols in terms of the number of students that can be at a dorm. Particularly, first of all, let me begin by student can test upon arrival. That is a requirement. They will be tested. If they are vaccinated, then we follow the CDC guidance where they would not need to be quarantined. But if they are unvaccinated, they will have to be quarantined. One of the things that we've done at our Job Corps centers is that we've limited the number of students that can be at a center. if our max is usually 500 at one center, it's gone down significantly to be 250 to 300 at some centers to allow the ability for students to be able to quarantine when needed. We're at a stage right now where we're getting a lot of our provide vaccination to our students. We are bringing mobile vaccination units to the centers to make sure the students get vaccinated, and preparing them for more safety practice into the center. Now, the students we still follow protocol in our training where we have smaller classrooms where we require 6 feet distancing in their training program. So that's just name a very few of our protocol that we put in place right now, actually since last year, for our centers. And now operators are trying to get us to remove some of these restrictions, but we're still not there yet. We're still trying to keep those restrictions in, particularly since, as I indicated, not all of our students are vaccinated, and while we're getting as many of them vaccinated as possible, we want to make sure those who aren't vaccinated are still healthy, and any students who are immunocompromised are in a safe environment.
So you will have more than 2 in a room?
We could have more than 2 in a room, but before we decide who's going to be 2 in a room, we have to determine whether they're vaccinated, and if they are fully vaccinated, and if they are not vaccinated, they've gone through a quarantine process.
Okay, the second part to this question is going to be a question for the police and the Job Corps, really. How much gang activity is located in the city of South Fulton. That will go to Chief Meadows, because you all know that crime surrounds the Job Corps. And this is coming from a concern, Mr. Rez, that I mentioned to you earlier. The Job Corps facility in the city of Atlanta that was closed. In the latter years, it was not good for the Job Corps students or the community. The kids got involved with a lot of the element in the area, and that is some of the concerns that our residents have. So if you don't mind, if you can address that and some of the protocols that you all have in place, and then and then Chief Meadows, can you address the gang activity and the crime in the community? Okay, he said he'll go first.
Okay.
Okay.
So, any police chief that tells you there's not a gang problem in Georgia probably doesn't know what they're talking about. But certainly it's an issue and a concern for everybody. I remember my time in Atlanta. I spent 30 years in the city of Atlanta when the Job Corps Center, I believe it was over on Westlake, was a particular problem, with respects to crime. What I found is that the Job Corps model has evolved significantly since that time. And the one that the councilwoman and I had an opportunity to tour seems to be the perfect model, and it certainly would be the perfect model for the city of South Fulton. And so how we would go about combating crime or the gang problem infiltrating the Job Corps Center is exactly what we've done with Fulton County Schools. Partnered with them, we've gone into the schools, we're teaching the staff there on what to look for with respects to gang activity, and we don't expect that the Job Corps would be any different in terms of a partnership. I mean, we're fooling ourselves if we don't believe that we can create partnerships to try to tackle this problem, because it's going to take that. And certainly having understood what the model was and what it used to look like, we certainly don't want to get back to that space. And so the city of South Fulton, we have a really robust gang unit, along with the narcotics unit. We've gone to Albany, Georgia. We've gone to Athens, Clark County to teach those police departments how to put together an effective gang and narcotics unit. And so, to that end, we want to take that knowledge and those abilities over to the Job Corps staff so that we can try to help them develop a plan that will insulate those youth from being susceptible to that gang activity. So the point is well taken, and it's not lost on us, the fact that it certainly can infiltrate these kids. I asked earlier if there was a matrix that was used to accept these kids, and a lot of them are at-risk youth that might be susceptible to that lifestyle. So we want to do everything that we can to try to make sure that we educate not only the staff but the kids to a higher degree what to look for, so that we can kind of prevent that sort of activity from infiltrating this particular facility.
And I thank you. And I wanted to add, I can't speak of the previous Atlanta Job Corps Center. There's a reason why it's closed. Let's be frank about it. But one of our major requirements is that we do partner with local law enforcement. We require that as part of our guidance to make sure that we do, and we welcome local law enforcement at our center. At the same time, though, I do want to make sure that you're aware that we have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to violence, when it comes to certain behaviors at our center. As I said to one of our audience members, what you put into Job Corps is what you make it. If you're coming in with a really good attitude and want to thrive and want to do things, then we welcome you and we want to do the work. But if you come in with a challenging attitude and you don't want to do the work and you do the wrong thing, you will not remain at Job Corps. We do have a zero tolerance policy. What we have control over is within the gates of Job Corps. So what happens outside that door, we have Chief Meadows who will take care of it at that end. But we have strict guidance within the parameters. We've done a lot of enhancement to our safety and security procedures and policies. We have, I can actually view some of my centers from the cameras from DC, because we do ensure that there is security cameras across the premises, so that we are able to monitor and ensure that there's no inappropriate behaviors happening.
You did everything. The cameras are particularly helpful, even with the COVID-19 situation, because COVID is still with us. If we use those cameras to do contact tracing to see if students have come in contact with each other, if somebody's positive. So we're able to surveil our centers all the time. And as Rachel said, zero tolerance for drugs, for violence, and every center operator must have a partnership agreement with the local law enforcement. And we welcome them to be a partner on our centers, all of them. We have 17 in the Atlanta region, and our local law enforcement officers and police chiefs are a member of every single one of our community relations councils. So we anticipate a wonderful partnership once the South Fulton Center is open.
Well, can you write it down? Because I have a whole list, and I just want to make sure everybody get an opportunity to get their questions in. This question is from a Legacy resident, and as I look into the audience, Ms. Torres, I just want to make it a point that we have a lot of Legacy residents in our audience, and thank you all for coming out. And that's one of the reasons I mail you, because I know that not everybody's on social media, and they're very concerned, and I'm glad you're here to kind of ease their concerns. And one of the questions, and it's similar to, and I think they may have answered it, if not, Ms. Mormon, let us know. How is the program different from the previous program in the city, which she's talking about Atlanta? How are the students going to be, how are they going to be, what are you trying to say, Ms. Mormon? Okay, I'm coming to you. Who are the residents and where are the students coming from? So they want to know your selection process, where they're coming from, and they've already explained how it's going to be different from the facility in Atlanta, but they want to know, she wants to know more about your selection process.
There are minimum requirements, of course, for the students to be accepted in the program. However, every center has a geographic location of where they can recruit their students from. So the majority of the students will be students from the state of Georgia. Some will be from Atlanta, some may be from Savannah, some may be from West Georgia, but depending on what geographical areas are assigned to the South Fulton Center in South Fulton, that will determine where the kids are going to come from. But the majority will be Georgia students, because we try to place students closest to home as long as it's the program that they want to study. So you're going to have students, perhaps even from South Fulton, that may opt to come to Job Corps, because we want it to be a program of choice, not a last chance. So that's where the students will come from.
The one thing I would add with the criteria who would attend to, if you notice what Derek mentioned before, we'll have non-residents. So those non-resident students would most likely be from the local area because they would be commuting to the center. And most of our centers have a combination. It's not unusual. Most of our centers do have a combination of both resident and non-resident students. The non-residents are the one most likely be within the local commuting area, while the residents would either be within the state of Georgia, and some might be out of state, especially if it's an advanced training, maybe from other states. And when we do advanced training, those are students who've already graduated from one program and wanted to get advanced training in another program, and that's where you see they've been part of it. We know the population that we serve. We know, as you mentioned, Chief Meadows, we know these are at-risk youth and they are most susceptible to gang because of some of the communities they come from and challenges they've had over the years. As much as we want to give them an opportunity to succeed. This is a chance to really, that normally they probably would not get, to either get their GED, high school diploma, and learn a trade. And that's going to give them an income. One thing we're focusing on when doing training is that you're not just getting a job after you finish the program, you're getting a career. So the more we push that and I make them understand that this is something that's here to help you, is the message I really want to bring forward with our program moving forward. We've been putting that a lot all over our center since I've been in this position for almost a year. And this is something we really adamantly believe in, that if we give these students a chance to succeed, that they will grab it and do well.
So that question actually came from Miss, and I missed part of it because my eyesight is bad, I can't really, but it's not on her, but she's a retired school counselor. And she retired, she worked for a long time at Westlake High School, one of our area high schools. And when the Job Corps was open in the city of Atlanta, the school counselors used to make referrals, but they stopped making referrals because of the element. And so she just wants to know, can you all assure that we would not have that type of element at this Job Corps? And then I think Chief Meadows, both of you all addressed that. There will be a security plan in place. I went to Montgomery and toured their facility. Montgomery works closely with their police chief. And Chief Meadows, even without the Job Corps, don't tolerate crime in the city of South Fulton. So we don't have that same scenario. I don't know what happened in Atlanta, but it won't happen here in the city of South Fulton.
Yeah, our goal is not to replicate. Our goal is not to replicate that. We have strict guidance in selecting the operator. As part of our procurement process, we're looking past their past experiences before we make the selection. So there's a lot of eyes looking at whether it's going to happen. And plus, this is going to be a beautiful place. We do not want anyone coming in and giving it a bad name at all.
And then will the area school counselors be able to make referrals to the Job Corps?
Yes. And one of our requirements, just so you know, in the last few years, I think it's beyond. I think it started after the Atlanta Job Corps Center closed. We increased the number of support hours of medical support that our students receive, especially for mental health and drug abuse counseling. So we require a lot more guidance and support to the students at the center than we did in the past.
All right, this is coming from State House Representative Mandisha Thomas. Job Corps offers so many programs, one of them being urban forestry. Is there room to focus on specific programs that are germane to the area? The urban forestry program you offer also encompasses renewable energy, which is a huge component to the area and the state. And I want to add to her question, we have a huge, how can I say, we have the Tyler Perry Studios, we have a huge filming industry. We're now known as, in Metro Atlanta, as the new Hollywood. So In addition to forestry and the filming industry, is there still opportunity for you all to add those skill sets to the Job Corps?
So definitely, I think one of the things that let me back up. What you saw listed is what we determined when we were first doing the center a few years ago. In every community, the work market changes. And one of the things that I think Penny mentioned earlier is that we have to look at, and this is where the community involvement becomes so important, is that we conduct an assessment and see what kind of jobs and work that's in high demand within this area. So we have those listed for now, but I believe, and based even on the analysis we've been doing recently, that's going to change. We haven't changed it yet because, again, the time to open is 2025. And by that time, even whatever we decide now may not be what's going to be needed in 2025. So it is evolving. It's something that we do all the time. We review the trades that are being offered and amend them as needed.
And we also will solicit the Workforce Council, members of the community, to give us actual feedback before we put the solicitation out. It's a requirement for us that we ask you, this is what we're thinking about doing. We're going to procure the center. What programs do you think would be appropriate for this center? So we want the community to let us know and what the high and demand industry sectors are, and then that's what we'll consider when we're developing the solicitation to run the center.
And one thing I might ask to you all is to respond, because we have some centers, we have some areas where we put these notices out to the community and we've received no responses at all. So my ask is when you will receive those notifications, that you do respond and come and let us know what we need to, because we're not going to be successful if we're not collaborating, if we're not working together. So that would be my biggest ask.
Yes, and I know Ms. Harvey is going to take care of this for me. She's going to blast everyone who didn't show up. We had a lot of questions and concerns, wanting to know what's going on with the Job Corps. I mailed over 5,000 notices about the Job Corps, sent out texts, 2,000, over 3,000 text reminders about the Job Corps. This place should be packed with all of the noise that was on the internet and social media about the Job Corps. And so, and we have a whole team that flew down from Washington. And this place should be packed. And this is great news coming to the city of South Fulton, $50 million investment, and no media to talk about this great news. So,
Can I say something real quick?
we have a whole list of questions. I want to get through everyone's questions, and then I will open it up if we have time. I just want to be fair. All right, Ms. Laura Estelle, do students need to qualify? This is a question from Ms. Laura. Do students need to qualify as low income to be served by Job Corps? Can they be high school graduates?
They can be high school graduates, but they must meet the eligibility requirement, and one of them is an income requirement. So, but a high school graduate is fine. They don't have to be a dropout. They can be a high school graduate. They just have to meet the income requirements and the age requirements. That's it.
All right. Since the original location has been closed since 2017, now 5 years later, where is ATL Job Corps operating now? They addressed that in the presentation. It's closed. But I'm going to let them respond how they're serving students since they have been closed. Where do young adults who are interested go now to get involved and enrolled?
So, because we have other centers within the state of Georgia or within areas outside of the state of Georgia, any students is welcome to come to any of our center. And one thing Penny said earlier, she focused on the state of Georgia, but one thing we are really open to, and she and I have had the conversation yet, is that a student could go to any center across the country if they are interested to just go to the area that the center that offers the trait that they are looking for. So even though we do not have the one right here in Atlanta, if a student within this area is interested, they can attend the Turner Job Corps Center, the Brunswick Job Corps Center, the Montgomery Job Corps Center. They could come to New York and go to South Bronx if they want to, Brooklyn, or several other centers that we have. We have 121 centers across the country, so they can attend. And we would provide the transportation to them, to the center. They do not have to get there themselves.
With an anticipated 2025 opening date, what is the expectation as to when a new contractor will be awarded to resume the redevelopment of the property?
We hope before the end of this year, 2022. That's our aim to do it. Begin the new year with the construction in progress. Right, Derek?
Right. I think they were asking about the operator.
Oh, the operator itself. I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead.
So historically, when we
And please speak in the mic. Somebody said online that they can barely hear you, so make sure you're speaking in the mic, please. Thank you.
So historically, when we are getting ready to open a new center, we'll start the procurement process at least, I would say, 18 months prior to the anticipated start date for the new center. And that is because generally our procurement process for an existing center would take between 8 to 12 months. And given that this would be a new center opening that would have to build up staff and have a plan for building up the student population, we afford a little bit of extra time for that. So I would think that a year and a half out, you'll start to see notifications come out on the government website for all contracting opportunities, which is sam.gov, and we'll begin to get feelers out there to then put a solicitation on the street for the operations contract.
Okay. Mr. Davis, students' ages target. Why limit the ages to 24 instead of 30? The target group should be updated and flexible to career objectives. So the question is, why limit the age group to 24 instead of 30?
That is actually written in the law that governs Job Corps, is the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. Did I say it right? Yeah. It requires that Congress pass. They identify the age group to provide the support.
So, Mr. Davis, reach out to Congressman Scott and reach out to Congresswoman Nakima Williams. That is a federal law. That's not a local law. So reach out to them and advocate for them to change, or whoever, to advocate for them to change the age. Again, please reach out to Congressman Williams and Congressman Scott, because it is a federal law. A federal law she just stated, and they can't do anything about that requirement. When was it enacted?
Oh, 2014. So it gets, the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Acts get reauthorized every 5 years or so, and I think it's in the process now too. So they renew it, they reauthorize it every. So 2014 it was enacted, and actually it's in the process of reauthorizing it.
So this is a good time for you to reach out to your congresspersons. Congressman Scott is this area. And I think Congressman Williams has some of South Fulton. And also reach out to your U.S. senators. All right. Mr. Elder, why was the fund stopped on a previous Job Corps project? We're not going to deal with rumors. Why was the fund stopped on a previous Job Corps? That was from Sterling Elder.
Was that the center?
They want to know, why was the fund stopped on a previous Job Corps project? Mr. Elder. Is Mr. Elder here? Yeah. Can you please explain? I'm going to bring the mic to you, because I'm kind of conflicted on your question, so I want you to clarify.
Why was the funding stopped? Yes. Why was the funding stopped? I know we said that it stopped, but there wasn't an explanation on why it stopped.
You mean for the construction of the center?
Yes, in terms of the contract.
So the reason why the project stopped wasn't funding related. The Department of Labor had the funding and we awarded the contract fully funded for the entire construction of the project. Unfortunately, we had to terminate the contract for default for performance reasons. So there are strict processes under the federal acquisition regulations that we have to follow when we have to take the step to terminate a contract. So we did do that, but we are absolutely continuing to move forward and to continue to fund and execute the project.
And then working with the Corps of Engineers to award the construction contract. What would be the entry address? Whose question is that?
That's mine.
Okay. When you say what would be the entry address, you mean?
Roosevelt.
Oh, where are they going to enter?
Yeah.
Okay. What would be the entry address? Where are they going to enter into the Job Corps? So right here is Walking Road.
We can advance the slides. Right. You see where it says Welcome Center on the bottom left?
And I'll get these slides out to the community.
That's the main entrance.
That's not very, we need more lighting, we can't see that.
That's Washington Road.
Can we adjust the lighting so everyone can see?
It's on the screen, we need more lighting.
Right, they're going to adjust the lighting past the freedom.
Thank you.
Or cut off the light so they can see it.
So that's Washington Road.
So the entry is going to be off of Washington Road. The entry is going to be off of Washington Road. And I will make sure everybody get a copy of these slides. If you are not subscribed to my to my electronic newsletter, please make sure that you sign in on the sign-in sheet so that I can email you a copy of the slide deck. But the entry will be off of Washington Road. What are the protocols for hiring, maintenance, and behavior teachers? Yes, ma'am.
Monitoring the behavior of teachers. Are they coming in as federal employees?
So the way that our current model works and what we would employ at this center is we have a center operator who is a contracted out center operator, and then they will hire. We have a handbook, a policy requirements handbook that governs the credentials and our requirements for operating the center. Within that framework, the contractor is hired to execute, the program. So the contractor that will hire the teachers, the instructors, security, all of the positions. There will be many subcontracting opportunities as well, generally, but they will dictate the requirements for employment. There are overarching program requirements, but it's up to the center operator to make those employment decisions about how the staff are trained, how they're recruited. Job Corps will oversee it, and Penny, would you like to talk?
Yeah, I was going to say that the center operator will hire the staff, but they have to follow the requirements that the PRH, which is a part of their contract, which tells them what credentials instructors have to have, what the annual mandatory training is that they must provide, and then my staff will do oversight. There will be a federal person. These are not federal staff that run the center. They are contractors. My staff, who are the federal staff, there will be one staff assigned as a core who will work very closely with the contracting officer and serve as the eyes and ears of the CO, contracting officer, and me, the RD, to make sure that the program is implemented as required in the Policy and Requirements Handbook. and within the requirements of Job Corps. So that's how it will be overseen, but they have to comply, and if they don't, we have remedies. We work with our contracting colleagues to remedy that.
Yeah, and within the framework of the contract are baked in, the program has many measures that are required by the authorizing legislation, the Workforce Investment and Opportunities Act, and those are baked into part of what Penny's staff is not overseeing, not only the day-to-day operations, student surveys, things like that. The program is also constantly monitoring outcomes and achievements as it relates to numeracy, literacy, attaining credentials. All of that is tracked and measured and overseen.
What happened?
Well, Ms. Harvey, we gotta be, all right. That's okay. We're doing good on time, so we might have some time to let people randomly ask questions. This is from another legacy resident, Ms. Shelby. How will the Job Corps benefit, and this is probably more so for the Economic Development Director, how will the Job Corps benefit the city of South Fulton as the host of such a large endeavor? How much money will the city receive? And before that question is answered by Economic Development Director, Ms. Tammy Salad Jones, can you please stand up? Ms. Tammy Salad Jones, I don't know why she's sitting all the way in the back, but Ms. Tammy Salad Jones is our city manager. And so you all received the mailer, and if not, the mailer is on the outside. I explained our form of government. We are a city council, city manager form of government. The power rests with the council, but Ms. Salad Jones is responsible for running the day-to-day operations of this entire city. As a matter of fact, Chief Meadows, Antonio Mansuelas, Artie Jones, and all of the department heads report to Ms. Salad Jones. And so that's Ms. Salad Jones. And her employee, Mr. Artie Jones, our new Economic Development Director, will take on this question.
Okay, thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the city of South Fulton. I look forward to working with you guys as your new Economic Development Director here. I'm excited about all the great potential that the city of South Fulton has, and I look forward to facilitating, great economic projects which will, pay great dividends for generations to come. Also, I would like to address the question as far as what benefits will come from Job Corps. This is a $50 million project. In economic development, investment attracts investment. Not only are they going to take, Job Corps is going to take, an area that's somewhat of an eyesore right now and develop it into something great for the youth of Georgia and probably surrounding states. But they are also going to be able to, these very same youth, let me back up. I worked at one time as Community and Economic Development Director in Brunswick, Georgia. I served on the Community Relations Council for the Job Corps in Brunswick for 4 years, from 2002 to 2006. So I'm very much aware of all the great things that the Job Corps has to offer. While I was there, and I'm not sure if things have changed, because this was 2002 to 2006, is that these youth, when they are actually training at the Job Corps, they'll have the opportunity to actually work in the communities where they are actually housed. And it will be at no cost, I think, to the employers, because they're getting that on-the-job experience. So as you'll see these youth out in the community working in various capacities in the areas that they're studying, as well as that's going to be support to those business people also, that where those youth are actually going to be, or young adults are actually doing that work. And at the same time, the investment that they're putting here, the Job Corps is putting in this area, is going to attract other investment around this very same area. I think it's a great program. The opportunity that I had to work with the Job Corps, I can remember that they actually worked on several projects for the local school system in our area. They built outdoor classrooms. They painted cars. They it's just a number of projects where they actually work. They served in clerical capacities for various developments. They worked at the local hospital in the medical services area. So I think that it's a great win-win for the city of South Fulton and the local community.
When you have people coming into your community making $1 million investments, that says a lot. It's going to yield with this Job Corps facility coming, we're going to eventually have a well-trained workforce base. Right now, we have majority of our residents driving out of our city to work. We don't have a lot of our residents that stand in our city to work. And one of the problems is we don't have a well-trained workforce base. This Job Corps is the missing link. It's going to be a game changer in that essence. And so I'm excited because a well-ran facility that I've witnessed in Montgomery, Alabama, that's over 20 years old, the schools had nothing but good things to say about the Job Corps. I've heard great testimonials. I've heard kids say they own their own car dealerships because they learned how to run their car dealerships through the Job Corps. I've heard testimonies from cosmetologists and barbers who own their own businesses. They picked up these trades from the Job Corps. I've heard testimonies from electricians. I've heard testimonials from people who work for the railroad companies. And so when you have a well-trained workforce base, you have a valuable community. You have less crime. What will the curriculum, will there be training in the curriculum in electronic and automobile training? And those were two of the trainings that was on the slide. Am I correct? Electronics and automobile training. And if not, in 2025, what was reported is that the community will have an opportunity to give input on what type of fields should be offered at the Job Corps. We ask that you all respond to that information when the Job Corps send that information out to the community. I would ask that they send it to me so that I make sure that I put it out in the mailer and give you all an opportunity to respond to what type of career fields that you would like to see at the facility. Are there any more questions? Do we have anyone who has gone through the Job Corps that would like to talk about? Yes, can you please come up and talk about your experience with the Job Corps, who has gone through the program? Because I don't have any more questions in my hand, and I do want to entertain some more questions if there are any more questions. I'll come back to you, Ms. Harvey, if anybody raised their hand. Questions. I will repeat questions. I'm not entertaining anything that's not concerning the Job Corps, and I'm not entertaining anything that's not question-oriented. We have people from Washington to entertain questions. I'm not entertaining any ranting and raving. If you have concerns, let's go ahead and get them out, but I ask that you be respectful and make sure that you be specific. Please.
Hi, I'm Darrell James. My Job Corps experience started when I came out of high school and joined the one in Cleveland, Ohio. And it was a great experience for the ones that are serious, that go to the center, you will get something out of it. So my training pertained to clerical and key punch. So at the end of, I think most people ended at 6 months, but it took me like 10 months. So the job that came up from the railroad, I picked that one because it was going to send me to a railroad for a job. So that's why I picked that Job Corps Center. So once my training was complete and I was typing, my key punch was up to par, the jobs came into Job Corps before they went out to the public. That's what they did. They sent all the jobs to us first. And they gave the Job Corps recipients an opportunity to get those jobs before anyone else could. So when I left Cleveland and the job was in Atlanta, for the Southern Railroad at the time. It's now Norfolk Southern. So I've been at that job for 35 years and retired from it. So it was a great experience.
And she has 2 children that graduated from Job Corps.
My 2 sons, one went to the one in West Virginia, and the other one went to the one in what's the state? West Virginia, New Jersey, and they had advanced training. My oldest son, he's working now in IT, and my youngest son was trained for IT, but he kind of went another way. But it was a great opportunity for them since I couldn't afford college, and my kids did get a great job training. So that's how that worked out for me.
And she has an older sister that is a recipient.
All right, that's our legacy. You have a great chiller. That's our legacy resident, Pastor Freeman, and his church is Red Oak Baptist Church.
All right. Hi, my name is LaPonce Mobley, and I just got it's kind of like a 2-part question, and I just want to know, is the city of South Fulton, is there going to be any requirements for any type of like minority participation contractors on that public work project? Okay, is it going to be any requirements, and are there any goals? So it's 2 separate things. I know it's, a goal can be pretty high, and usually those don't get met. And then I want to know, are there going to be any opportunities to bring the, say, students from other Job Corps to actually work on the project? You see? Because, see, a lot of times, a lot of them, they're not going to get the hours that they need to become journeymen. But working on a project for 30 months, it would actually allow a lot of those students the opportunity to attain journeyman license, especially if they're in carpentry, if they're an electrician, glazers, and those type of skills. And the reason I'm asking is because if you've never been to Tongue Point Job Corps up in Portland, Oregon, that place is like state of the art. I'm gonna sum it up real quick. I used to be a recruiter for the city of Portland, Oregon. No, I was a contractor working with the city of Portland. We had the construction trades intern program. And what we did is we brought a lot of students from Tongue Point up there. And we required, it wasn't like we had goal and requirement. So we required that the people who were working on these public work projects, that they hired so many people from our city, okay, that was in either a construction trades program, and they actually had to monitor to see that they were moving towards those goals of becoming journeymen. So I just want to know, will there be any participation like that for the students?
I'm going to turn this question over to Mr. Rez. Let me clarify something. The city of South Fulton has no jurisdiction over this federal project. This is a federal funded project, which means the federal government is running this show. Now, we are supporting this project, and we are we will do anything to make sure that if they need anything from the city, they bring this online. But we don't run the show. So I'm going to give this mic to Mr. Rez. The other thing I want to point out, in the presentation and also on the panel, the facilities director explained that the Corps of Engineers, which is a federal agency, is going to be running the construction and awarding the contract for the construction. The Corps of Engineers, which is a federal agency. So I'm going to give this to Mr. Rez.
Sure. Yeah. So with regards to both the contract for the construction as well as the contract that will operate the center once it's ready to be open and fully functioning, both of those contracts will have mandated goals for subcontracting with women-owned, minority-owned, service-disabled, veteran-owned small businesses. They are built into the contract. That's a requirement that is a part of all federal contracting. So yes, there will be targets for those contractors to meet with regards to bringing in those minority-owned businesses and giving them an opportunity to perform as a subcontractor under the contracts.
That'd be possible.
It is possible, but the closest center that we would have to South Fulton, for example, would be the Albany Center, and that's still 2.5 hours away. So there is a possibility that there may be a student who's at that point in their training that they can do home-based, work-based learning and be on work-based learning, even paid work-based learning to get those additional hours. But it's going to be a relationship between the program and the construction contractor for them to have willingness to have that student working those hours on their project. But we're open to that and we encourage it because it gives our students real-world experience, whether it's paid or unpaid. So there's a possibility for that, but we do not stipulate that in the contract.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Davis, and I would like to know, is there any direct cost to the applicant to join Job Corps?
He wants to know if there is a direct cost for the applicant to join the Job Corps.
No, this is completely free to the applicant. The federal government picks up the tab on everything related to the program. There is no cost to the student at all while they are living at Job Corps, staying at Job Corps, learning from Job Corps, and when they graduate from Job Corps. While they are at Job Corps, they do receive a small stipend every 2 weeks, which allow them to save a little bit of money. And when they graduate and transitioning out, they also receive a transition pay to assist them into transitioning back into the work world.
At the first meeting that we had, the construction of the new Job Corps, I think that was back in 2019. The panel that was here said they were going to have in-house security. Is that still true? And will they be independent contractors or federal employees?
So there is a requirement to have security within the centers. That is our requirement, and we have strict protocols when it comes to safety and security of the offices. As Jillian mentioned earlier, part of the they will not be federal employees. Part of the when we award the contract for the operator to operate the entire center, they are required to provide that provide that security. Sometimes it could be a subcontractor, or sometimes it could be employees that they hire themselves who are security specialists. But there will be a requirement for security.
Ms. Harvey is a veteran and she's retired from the VA. She's very humble, but she's very active in our community. But
I want her to be my security.
All right, we want to bring Ms. Sally Jones up, our city manager, to address the panel and the residents in the audience. I can't thank you enough for coming out. I'm very happy to see a lot of my legacy residents. I know COVID has been very hard on us, but I'm here for you if you have any questions, concerns. Pastor Freeman, make sure you talk to Ms. Torres, because I know you had some deep concerns last time, so make sure before you leave, talk to her. Whoever sent this non-related Job Corps question, why does everything have to be a roundabout? Before you leave, talk to Mr. Venezuela, and he can answer that question, why roundabouts are more popular now. Okay, he can answer that question for you. Are there any, I want to bring Ms. Sally Jones, we're good on time, it's 5:26. Sure. Can you hear me? You can have mine. It's on now, try to.
Hello. That does happen for real. One thing we do want to tell the pastor, and Jillian and I were talking about that, the requirement to repair your parking lot will be specifically stated in the procurement for the contract.
All right.
We all are well aware and always ensuring and making sure that the parking lot will be taken care of.
And while Rachel Torres is always willing to talk to anyone about this program, I am here for you. I'm the regional director for the Atlanta region. I will have responsibility for the center. I have business cards here. You can call me with any questions. Rachel has 121 to operate. I only have 17. So you will get my undivided attention. I promise to respond, but I would like to give my boss a little bit of a break and say, if I can handle South Fulton for her, I think that'll make it a lot better. And I have a great relationship with Jill and with Derek, so we'll be able to get any answer that you need on anything about the South Fulton Job Corps Center as quicker if you reach out to me.
And I want to thank Bishop Terry, Alonzo Terry. He is the pastor of this church. And I want to thank him so much for opening up his house, which is directly across the street from the Job Corps, and being so gracious and allowing us to have our meetings and give updates to the community. He will be here later to conduct his Bible study, but he is very concerned and has been very active, and I know will be a very great board member whenever that comes, because he's directly across the street from the church. I want to bring Ms. Sally Jones up. It is now 5:28. We have to be out of here by 6. So if there are any more questions, I do want to entertain your questions and concerns. But let Ms. Sally Jones come up. She is running our show here in the city of South Fulton. And thank you for all that you do. I know I'm passionate and I get a little anxious because our team was running a little late, but they were putting out fires in other areas of the city. So thank you, Mr. Jones, thank you, Mr. Venezuela, and thank you, Chief Meadows, for coming, and thank you to our communications team for coming, and thank you to my husband for coming and taking time out to, and thank you, Megan, and my colleague, Natasha Williams, for allowing me to borrow Megan. Thank you so much, LaShondra Little. I can't get rid of LaShondra. LaShondra, she came out to help me. And thank you, State Representative Mandisha Thomas, for coming out, and the communications team, Michael Smith. And if I forgot, and thank you, Mr. Brian Morris, the code enforcement manager. Y'all can get him. No, I'm just saying. He did it. But he's here, and he's a welcome addition to the city of South Fulton.
Thank you, Councilmember Willis. Good evening to each of you. Good evening to the panel. Tammy Sala-Jones, as Councilmember Willis mentioned, I'm your city manager. It brings me great joy and great pleasure to serve in this role. It is a role that I do not take lightly. I take it very serious, because to whom much is given, much is required. So I do want to say thank you to each of you for coming out. I know a lot has been said this evening. We thank you to our federal individuals that came from DC. Councilmember Willis, has tried to push this particular event out today. Our staff tried to push it out today, so we do have live streaming. So hopefully, those of you who were not able to make it this evening will be able to share this particular live stream video with others, and hopefully they will be educated on this particular project. So we look forward to having you here. I had an opportunity with Councilmember Willis to tour your facility, earlier last year. And so we look forward to you all coming, and again, we thank you. I thank you to my staff, and I thank you again for, serving as your city manager. And if you need to reach me, my office is at City Hall. And my email address, Tammy with an I, TAMMI, .jones@cityofsouthfultonga.gov. Thank you so much.
My last thank you goes to the Job Corps, saving the best for last. Look, thank you for choosing the city of South Fulton. Thank you. Thank you for traveling all the way to Washington, D.C. Thank you for allowing us to have access to our regional director. This is refreshing to hear that we can talk to her, because the previous regional director did not want to talk to us and told us we could not talk to the person in that
Not
role.
her.
I'm not calling them any names, but what's even great about the situation is that she lives in our city. So she has a vested interest to make sure that this facility comes online with the best quality and expeditiously. And what I want you all to take from this meeting is that we will get a quality Job Corps center. It will be safe. It will not be like the previous Job Corps center in the city of Atlanta. We have committed partners to make sure that it will be safe. And we will continue to give updates on the facility as it progresses. And it is going to happen. It is not blighted property. It is 25% completed. They are working, the Job Corps team is working with the U.S. Job Corps engineer to get the contract awarded sometime this year. And after that is done, it will take 30 months to complete. So please, when you see people commenting on Facebook and putting out false information, you have the power now to correct that. I will make sure that you get the PowerPoint slide. Just make sure I have your email. And then I will make sure this recorded video is also put out through the city's channel and also through my social media channel. And that's all I can do at this point. Okay? I think that ends our meeting. If you don't have any more questions, concerns, yes ma'am. You're in the back. Well, I'll come back to you.
Okay, my question is, my staffing agency is currently working with homeless shelters to get them back established into the workforce world and into the world with housing and different things of this nature. I have two parts. I have the nonprofit side of things, and then I have the staffing agency. I am wondering if at all possible, if you would be willing.
Can't hear.
You got to talk in the mic because also the people in virtual land is listening too, so please talk.
I am working currently with shelters, and as far as the Gateway Center that is located downtown. And what they are doing is we are trying to reestablish those who are homeless and to get them back into the workforce and into the world. My company is wondering, as the president of Hudson and Staffing Solutions, I wanted to know if there's some type of partnership that we could build so we can help each other. And as far as if there's homeless people of all ages, and I know the 16 to the 24 is the requirement. But if we have those individuals, or we're able to pull them straight from high school before they cause any problems, can we partner together so we can provide those individuals to you so they don't go astray?
Yes, please get my business card. I'll give it to you because we have, although this center is not open, we have several Job Corps centers close enough by that we can enroll those students, and I can connect you with an outreach and admissions provider that can work with you and those individuals, provided they're within that age group, to be enrolled in the program. So yes.
And we have a lot of openings. Right now, our enrollment is low, so we more than welcome, and we are building back to what normally nationwide, we'd only have 30,000, we service about 30,000 students, and right now we are 12,000, so we are trying to get to 23,000, which means we have a lot of space available for students, so please, yes.
If the homeless come from downtown, my company will bring them to the school.
We will, I'm going to connect you with the right person. And I believe there is an office downtown Atlanta for outreach and admissions for the program. And depending on their interest and what training they're interested in, they can go to any one of the 17 centers that I have in the Southeast. Of course, I'm trying to fill mine first. Or they can go to any one of the 121 centers nationwide. You're welcome.
Thank you. My name is Mary Potter, and I am a resident of South Fulton. And I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to Helen. So often we have complaints and issues that come up, but I strongly support her. And I often tell the story that when she began to run for office, I was undecided of who I was going to vote for. And she made it a point to come to my home, to sit down at the table and share with me her vision. And I often tell her that she has done everything within her power to make sure that she has held up everything that she said at my kitchen table to say. And so publicly, I want to say that to you because I tell you that privately. But oftentimes we don't give roses while people are living so they can smell them. And I just wanted to take a moment to say I appreciate what you do for our community. I love how you go to fight for District 3. And everybody that knows me knows that they cannot mess with my councilwoman.
I promise you I didn't ask her to say that or pay her to say that. But it's refreshing because I'm going through a lot right now.
Oh, I didn't have a question. I'm saying, yeah, I'm proud of myself.
Oh. All right, thank you so much, Ms. Mormon. Really, I am happy to see you guys. You know, this has been hard, this pandemic. So hopefully, I'm glad you all are still here. Please continue to be careful, get tested. Get vaccinated. I think there's a second booster out. If you haven't, make sure you get all your boosters. Because we all want to be smiling and photo opping and ribbon cutting in 2025 when this facility opens, okay? You have anybody from the panel, you have anything else to say?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for your patience. And we're asking you for more patience. I do believe we'll get through this. We'll get a center. I'm excited about the opportunity. And what this trip tells me is that we have a lot of support in this community for this to happen. And I'm looking forward to working with each one of you to make sure that we open that center and we let our students in. Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me.
You all have a good evening. Thank you for coming out. Oh, he wants me to do it over here.